Hi there, everyone, and welcome to the Athlete Cafe.
Hi guys, I'm Carly, former collegiate lacrosse player.
I'm Abby, former gymnast and collegiate dancer.
I'm Frances, former collegiate track athlete.
And I'm Emily, former collegiate volleyball player. Let's get into today's topics and see what's on the menu.
Large cappuccino. Orders up.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Isn't that how Emily normally starts those, or whatever her little tagline is? But welcome back to the Athlete Cafe. If you're watching our video, the cast is a little bit different today. We are really excited that at Sharpen Skills Training and with the Athlete Cafe, we are growing and expanding, and we have two really awesome new hires that have joined our team. So what we want to do this month with our episodes is take some time to introduce them, kind of let them give their spiel. They are both men. They're both male athletes. So, they've got a little bit of a different perspective than us, and they've got, some different insight and are going to tell us kind of about their sports background, what led them to their schooling, and eventually to, both of them relocated to Cleveland, Ohio, and what kind of let them do that. So we're going to kind of put them in the hot seats this week and, 2 weeks from now. So first we have Braden with us.
Hello.
Braden, hello,
Hi.
welcome. Is it weird?
On? It's a little different for sure, but it's nice to be on the podcast.
First podcast ever?
Not first podcast, first group type podcast, but I've done individual stuff.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So,
That's what's really fun about this is all of a sudden, we all sit in an office 40 hours a week with each other, and all of a sudden I'm going to be like, I had no idea.
Yep.
I didn't
Find
know
out
I
some
We're
new
gonna learn
things.
that.
You're
About
gonna,
you
you'll
today.
probably find out a couple new things.
Yeah.
For sure,
Yeah.
so.
Sweet. Well, cool. We're glad to have you here and join the team and the podcast and everything. So
Tell us all about you, Braden. We
All
want
right.
to learn some new things today. So
Sure.
name, major, hometown, fun fact.
All right. So
journey.
my name is Braden Bova. My hometown is from Buffalo, New York. At a town from Lancaster, in Buffalo. Played college baseball. That was a big part of whole sports background. I would say baseball is I don't know, in terms of mental performance and everything that I've become today, just understanding where an athlete starts to how they get to certain points. I think baseball, I've been able to use that sport to get to where I am today as a mental performance coach. But I would say in my hometown of Lancaster, it's really important for me to mention that because that's really where my baseball career started. Just playing youth baseball to travel baseball every summer, doing fall stuff, just really learning throughout the game, learning from a lot of different people.
I really just need to point out that how the world just works in mysterious ways.
Yes.
Braden grew up 3 houses down from one of my best friends in college.
I did.
All of
did.
a sudden, he was
What
like,
are
oh
the
yeah, I'm
odds?
from Lancaster. And I was like, wait, I know somebody from there. And so I dropped the name and they're like, oh yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. We live right around the curve. And I was like, I've driven by your house before. That's a weird thing, but
And Francis is originally
Francis is from Buffalo.
Buffalo.
And
So.
Braden, he'll get to it, but went to college in my hometown.
Yes.
weird.
So
weird. All the weird
meant
things.
to be
Small
here.
world.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I did not mean to cut you
No,
off. I just
no,
really
it's okay.
I was remembering all of
Yeah.
that and got
Yeah.
really excited about it.
So
Yeah, no.
started baseball. What age would you say?
I would say about 5-6 years old.
T-ball.
Started
Wow,
about
you
the
little
T-ball
babe,
thing.
yep.
Went through the whole process. The T-ball, the youth baseball, Babe Ruth to the major, all that stuff kind of leading up to eventually playing high school ball. Played at St. Mary's High School, so shout out St. Mary's. All the St. Mary's athletes there. That's a private school, private high school in Buffalo, New York, kind of in that Lancaster area as well. But just a lot of learning experiences. Just again from that youth side, moving up into high school. Yeah, just a lot of fun memories, a lot of fun times,
That's awesome.
and yeah.
What got you into baseball? Why'd you choose that? You could have chosen any other
Right,
sport.
especially in Buffalo, football's huge in Buffalo. So
Yeah,
what
I
made
mean,
you go baseball?
I mean, it's a great question. I just think that I think just from watching a lot of watching guys when I was younger, just when the TV was on, I know in Buffalo we get the Yes Network for free, right? So the New York Yankees are on TV, sometimes the Red Sox games are on TV.
Yep.
Pick up some different close games. Sometimes Cleveland was on TV as well. So
Nice.
just kind of picking that stuff up, watching the game when I was younger. Just I don't know. I guess just that, and maybe I guess my dad as well put me in baseball as well. So just kind of starting me from a young age. Just
That's awesome.
took it to heart. really started wanting to play it. So
That's great.
yeah.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
But
So, youth, middle school, high school ball. How was high school ball for you?
high school is great. Yeah, just a lot of, I would say, like, in terms mentally, a lot of ups and downs in high school. I think, like, a lot that I use with, like, as a mental performance coach now, like, a lot the tactics I use really go back to high school, relating to a lot of the kids I work with. I think that high school is really fun for me in terms of playing the game, but mentally it's like, you know, I knew I felt a certain way about things, but like when you're at that age, 14, 15, 16, you know, you're not always going to express yourself. Always like there was no sports counselor around, right? So you kind of just
absolutely.
always kind of keep those things inside. So like love playing the game, but mentally there was a few struggles there. So I definitely was able to carry a lot of that stuff that I know now that happened to me back in high school. So love my baseball career though in high school. Loved St. Mary's baseball for the longest time. Lots of great competition, lots of great memories, and yeah, a lot of stuff to carry.
Seemed pretty successful for you considering you played in college, right?
Yeah, went on to play at Duval University. It's in downtown Buffalo, New York. So
like
stayed
that, yeah.
stayed in the stayed in the Buffalo area. Loved it. You know, I think that I don't know, when I was looking at colleges, I wasn't like opposed to playing ball outside of the state, but
Okay.
I feel like, you know, just like talking to a lot of athletes at the time when I was in my junior and senior year, trying to find a really good college to go to, both academically and sport-wise, which is really important for me because I knew I wanted to not only really want to play baseball in college, but really wanted to find a good academic program. So that Duval, that
Important
was
to know that, you know, both of those are important when you're looking into,
Right.
you know, colleges.
If you like what you're listening to, be sure to follow the Athlete Cafe on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can find us wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
So how did that transition to college go for you? Was it like you hit the ground running? Was it kind of a slow burn and took some time to adjust to being in that college?
Yeah.
Not just academically and like being in college, but also playing being a collegiate athlete.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of an adjustment at first. I feel like, you know, when you're in that high school atmosphere, you're like, a lot of people take care, like I have, you know, still at home. So like I go back to like parents' house, like I just easily hang out with friends, get dropped off here, get dropped off there. There wasn't, I wouldn't say as much responsibility in high school. I was just able to go out in the field and play.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, this is this game, practice game. So when you get to college, you know, there's a lot that falls on you in terms of like preparation, and expectations, and a lot of those things that like, I'm not gonna say you don't have that in high school, but I wasn't really cognizant of it in high school as much. So I didn't really like, I won't say I didn't take a lot of things seriously because I did. When the lights come on, it's a totally different experience. Whether it's, again, for high school or college ball or any type of baseball you're playing, when the lights come on, you got to show up. But I just think that the college level, it's just like, there's so much more to it. There's so much more higher expectations, just meaning in the games, right? Like just every at-bat counts and every at-bat matters. And not to say that high school doesn't, but there's just a lot more expectations that get put on you at the college level than really at the high school level.
Like
so.
on field and off field for sure,
Absolutely.
right? Like you have to be on time, you have to, you know, present yourself in a certain way. All of those life lessons I always say I learned from being a collegiate athlete is something that you will take with you forever for sure. Like my coach in high school, I don't think that if I was 5 minutes late, I don't think that they would have cared, you know, but
In
if I was
college,
if I was
do.
5 minutes late or if I was 5 minutes early, that was late essentially in college. So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. What was your favorite like memory or biggest accomplishment? You know, it can be any point of your baseball career, but, you know, collegiate level.
Okay.
Like, do you have, like, one moment where, like, that's what I can hang my hat on kind of thing?
Yeah, I think I kind of remember my freshman year in college. We went down to Florida, Winter Haven, Florida, for, like, a spring training thing. I just remember, like, kind of stepping onto the scene for the first time, college ball, like, you know, really getting to know my team. We practiced a lot. And, again, like, I thought, very spunk, like freshman year, like I'm gonna come in and do like, you know, great job. You know, I got sort of the confidence there. I'm like, hey, I'm a college athlete. This is great. And I just remember like stepping into like my first at bat, and like, you know, our teammates were very supportive. I just remember being in that batter's box, like, I cannot believe I'm here right now. Like my confidence level, boom, like dropped to the floor in the batter's box. And I was like, every teammates were like, oh no, he's good. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good for my first at bat.
Meanwhile,
I'm walking up to the batter's box.
You're in the headlights.
Any routine that I had, anything I had, walk up to that batter's box, it was just out the window. It was just like one pitch, strike, strike. But I do remember in that at bat, actually wasn't in that at bat. I think I flied out or grounded out or something. But the second at bat is where I guess my highlight was. I got my first collegiate base hit to the right side. I remember it squeaked by the second baseman in the right field, base hit. I remember like rounding first base, finally got the first college base hit.
There you go.
I did take the ball home with me too, so
I
do.
Absolutely.
As I said, I do have it. I still do have it. I love it. But yeah, I think like that second at bat, I don't know. I feel like it regained my confidence a little bit. But I just remember like, even though that first one didn't go like as planned, right? Even though my confidence would fly on the floor, like routine went out the window, didn't know what the heck I was doing, I still like feel like it was somewhat of a highlight because it reminded me, like even today, because I can remember that very well, it reminded me of like, you know, in those moments, you know, you got to stay true to yourself, right? So it's not always, a highlight for me isn't always like a huge accomplishment. Sometimes the highlight is like something I can really remember and take with me to use as a highlight in today's time. So
can we get that one written down somewhere? That was a good one, right?
I feel like just in general, like people think of like a highlight reel, like home runs and base hits, like, but I think like leading up to that second at bat for my first collegiate base hit, I think like the highlight of just like being in that moment really kind of set me up to like, bring the confidence level up.
Cool take on like that memorable, like in that moment, it was a moment of success of like, holy crap, like I am playing college baseball right now. And like, it still didn't go well.
Right.
Carly, do you have a moment like looking back on that where like the actual game or the outcome was not great, but like it's a moment that you are really proud of, or like just
probably
a memorable
something
moment?
honestly similar was my spring break trip to Florida with my lacrosse team, and I was a freshman. I wasn't playing literally at all. I was sitting the bench, and I was like so upset on the sidelines. Just every game, I was just so upset. I'm like, I want to be out there. I'm not playing. I want my opportunity. And I remember my coach was like, we were beating this team by like, actually, I don't think we were beating them by much. I don't know. It was kind of like a closer game, but she put me in. And I think it was because it was like spring break. My parents came to travel to see me play. She probably felt a little bad for me.
In the game.
So she puts me in, and I was like crapping my pants, essentially, so nervous. And I get the ball, I dodge right, go left, and I score. And I remember, like, yes, I scored. I had the outcome I wanted, but like, I mean, if you look at my stats for my entire college experience, like I had probably like 10 goals to my name all 4 years. Like I was not a scorer. So it was just like the fact that I like really just channeled it in that moment. I was nervous. I hadn't been playing. I like really felt like the pressure to prove myself, and I did that. And then my whole team was just so excited for me. I literally remember crying on the field. Sure. I'm like, this is so embarrassing. I just like scored and I'm crying. So I would say probably that. Just like, yes, it wasn't the outcome like of me playing, but I got the opportunity and I used it. But and then I went out and didn't play the rest of the game. So there you go.
Right. So but like in that moment, it's such like a memorable thing. Like just something that's stuck with you.
Definitely. What about you?
That's a good one. I think probably it was probably my senior year of high school. Actually, I had some definitely in gymnastics in college, but like actually I'm going to change my answer.
Okay.
I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to go to college dance. Okay. And we had this like end of year banquet every year where like we got the team together, we got all dressed up, we like had a nice dinner, like, which I don't even know if it was really that nice of a dinner, but compared to dining hall food, greatest food we've ever had in our entire lives. But it was one of those moments where we were like having like speeches read and like, you know, we were like kind of getting our senior awards. And I remember, like, I did not dance very well my senior year. Like, it was just one of those, like, my body was kind of done. I definitely was focusing more on my gymnastics than I was on my dance. So I was, you know, out of the studio a lot more. So, like, I wasn't the best dancer that I was that year. I, you know, kind of got moved back in the formations a little bit. And I got taken out of certain, you know, bigger, you know, parts of the dances. But just having that moment of, like, I made it to my senior year, like these girls are now like my best friends, like just knowing like I seriously would not have gotten through my college experience, was particularly like my first couple of months my freshman year. I had a lot of family stuff going on. We had a pretty big death in my family that I just was like, I'm not going to college, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And then like getting this plaque that said like I danced all 4 years of college, that, you know, were not my best dancing, but just like
Huge accomplishment.
It's
hard to make it to the end.
The actual performance was not that great though. So like
It's
it just
okay.
was like a good moment. And I never really thought of it like that, Braden, of like
I like that.
the sport didn't even go that well at that moment, but that like, holy crap, I made it kind of moment. I think that's kind of what it was for all of us in those times.
Yeah, I think there's also like a thing to be said for any, like, even in high school too, but more particularly for me for college, it's like you're going to have that moment, like your welcome to college moment. There's going to be something, whether it's going to be good or bad, right? But I always took it as like, even when I go back to that first at bat, right? Like I look at it as a good thing. Even though I did get out, even though I grounded out or flied out, wherever it was, like I look at it as like, hey, that was like my first at bat. And I was like, you know, I just remember walking back, instead of like being like upset about myself, like, oh, I can't believe I got out, or like I didn't hit a home run my first at bat.
Right.
I was actually like, you know what, this is great. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm in Florida playing ball for college for my college university. So it was nice. Cool. It's a nice memory, and I feel like after that I was able to settle in. But I was just you know, just kind of happy to be there and be in that moment. So
tell us a little bit about your education path. Like, how are you in this job position right now? Tell us kind of how you got
apply
here.
And get accepted.
Sure. So I did my undergrad at Duvall University. I was a bachelor in psychology. I went to Ithaca College. I got my master's in exercise and sports sciences in mental performance. And I feel like one of the reasons why I went to grad school and got the degree was because of my past sport experiences. Like the mental things I went through in high school, some of the stuff I went through in college, baseball as well. Like, just like, I feel like, I don't know, when I was looking for some sort of career path, I always knew I wanted to work in sports.
Okay.
But I knew that I also wanted to help athletes get to the level, or at least play at the level that I did in college. I feel like I knew my stage from middle school to high school to college, like what that process looks like. I feel like I can work with athletes to help them go from middle school to high school to college ball. And there's no reason why any athlete shouldn't feel like they can't step on a stage in college, even when they're in middle school and high school. Like, why I can't play college ball. I always challenge my athletes, like, why not? Like, you can play college ball if you really want to. So if that's their expectation, right? So I just think like helping athletes along that path, both mentally, and also I did some physical like skill work as well, just like getting to that right mindset and being ready to move forward with their career. Just keep
That's
moving
really
forward.
awesome.
So to all of those baseball players that are in that position right now, who maybe are questioning their abilities to make it to college, or that are hoping for that, but just, you know, want to have that piece of advice, what would you tell them?
I'd probably tell them, you know, I'd say stay true to yourself for sure. I say, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of different ways of getting there, right? There's going to be a lot of different film sessions and batting stances and coaches and pitching sequence, a whole bunch of things that you can do, right? But if you kind of like stay true to like your own unique way of how you throw, how you hit, and don't let even your personality too, and how you just interact with your teammates, to just show up to the field, your intentions, your expectations, your goals, your mindset, confidence levels, all those things that go into like wanting to play and like having the mindset to play. I feel like as long as you stay true to yourself every game, every season, you'll make it as far as you really want to go. But the second you start listening to somebody else tell you what to do, then you're just not your own person. Then you're kind of playing for somebody else. So I would say, to answer your question, in order to like, I guess, keep progressing, you're going to want to stay true to yourself, but also you're really going to want to like, I don't know, just be your own person.
Yeah, like write your own story. Like stay in your lane. Like don't compare. Don't try to change for other people, type of thing.
Yeah,
I like that. And I think you have an interesting perspective, which I'm sure you'll get to. But like you coached, you were kind of a part of the staff, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah,
That's
I
a cool,
did.
cool background.
Yeah, I've done a little baseball coaching as well. I did some coaching in Boston for a company in Boston over there. Did a lot of youth baseball coaching over the past couple of years at different organizations as well. I just feel like just seeing a whole bunch of the different personalities I've seen in baseball at various levels. It could be middle school, high school, even like the college level as well. Just, I think that like, you know, every baseball player obviously wants to be great. I've never met one that doesn't want to be better at their sport, right? But I feel like the mindset there always is like, they're either telling me they're not good enough or something, or they want to improve. I feel like in those moments, even when I was coaching, the one thing I'd always harp on is like, just be like, I won't say always be satisfied where you are, just like enjoy the moment though. Enjoy where you are, enjoy like the things that you can do. Because one day it's going to be gone. And I'm not going to say sitting in the seat right now, like my baseball career is like, there's nothing I can do for it anymore, but you know, college baseball is over for me, and it's like, it's nice to talk about. It's nice to work with athletes as well. But I'd say like, you know, just while coaching these players, I think like always reminding them to, you know, just enjoy the moment while they're there. So
yeah, I think we get so wrapped up in, you know, and athletes in general, like as soon as you achieve one set of goals, right, you're adding in some more of those expectations. Okay, well, now that I can do this, I need to be able to do this. Now that I can do this, I should be able to do this. And those expectations start to build, and we always are setting that bar higher, which is great. That's how you continue to progress and get better. But at some point you have to take a moment of like stillness to be like, oh dang, I just did that. Like what have I accomplished? Like I wish I could go back a year ago and like be able to see where I am now, kind of thing. And it's one of those, you know, and I know everything right now on social media is like, you're currently living one of your dreams you used to wish for. And like, I think sometimes like telling your athletes that, having that little bit of perspective of like, you know, you made the varsity team. That's what you wanted to do. It might not be going well in the moment and there's more to work on, but like, you're here. Like you've made the team. You got to like take a second to embrace that success. I think that's a great way to look at that, Braden. That's awesome.
Sure.
Yeah. And then what made you decide to move to Cleveland? This is, and how much does your family harp on you for the fact that you now live in the state of Ohio?
Yeah, the move to Cleveland, I mean, it's been great so far. I've been to Cleveland many times throughout, I mean, past couple of years as well, throughout my childhood as well. Used to come do a lot of Cleveland baseball games here, a lot of fun. It's only a 3-hour trip down the lake from Buffalo, New York.
But there you go. Not bad.
But to answer your question, one of the main reasons I moved to Cleveland was to work for Sharpen Skills, to be a mental performance coach. I felt like
wanted to be our friend.
Yeah, I just want, right. I just feel like the opportunity was there to work with athletes. I just seen like I knew Cleveland had like a really good baseball background there as well, like a lot of baseball teams. I'm starting to learn that as well, like all the different clubs and stuff that are here. But just feel like it felt as a really good opportunity to just jumpstart my career in terms of like not only just working with athletes, but working with them with their mental abilities. And I mean, I have a little bit of background in football as well, but baseball definitely takes takes the scene for sure. So I love working with a lot of stuff in baseball.
Totally fair. We all have our favorites,
I was going to say, and you know, we're very thankful to have somebody with some baseball knowledge because we are, you know, we learn, we do our best, but you know, you've been a great resource for us, you know, with some of our baseball kids that we work with.
And the terminology. I don't know.
I'm like,
there's a lot
what
of
does this
it.
mean? Please help me.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different baseball lingo that some of these kids will throw out that obviously I understand, but you know, it all comes with experience though.
For sure.
So, but I'm glad to pass that some of the information on.
We're thankful for it, that's for sure.
So knowing, I mean, through that entire journey of youth to middle school to high school to college and through all your education experience within the psychology realm and the mental performance realm, like knowing everything that you know now, what do you wish you would have known either in college or high school or youth, like in any level of your play when it comes to the mind and how it affects your game?
That's a good question. I think that I wish I would have been able to regulate or understand my confidence level more back then. I feel like my confidence level, if I put on a scale like 1 to 10, some days it was at a 1 and some days it was at a 10 based on like how good I did in a certain game. It would just fluctuate. So like I feel like if I would have known back then like what I guess confidence really was, especially in high school too, knowing that like, hey, some days it's not going to go well for me, right? I'm going to go 0 for 4, but that doesn't mean I can't show up the next day and go 4 for 4.
Yeah.
The 0 for 4 for me would turn into like maybe the next day I just pinch hit and I don't only have 1 at bat because I didn't do as well in the day before or the couple nights before, and that would play into that next game. So the confidence level would consistently then stay low, right? And then like maybe have a good game and go up, and then maybe go back. So it was like this huge fluctuation. I feel like if I would have had like someone like mental performance coach in high school, which would have been great, and even in college as well. I feel like college, we can get into that, but I feel like college I was able to figure a lot of more stuff out for myself, just studying psychology, and like, oh, this is interesting. Let's start diving into this, right?
Understanding how to
in terms of the
apply
sport.
this, yeah.
But I feel like the whole like confidence thing, if I would have like understood that more, and like why I felt really great in some days and why some days I felt like I couldn't hit a beach ball if it was thrown.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, so.
And aiming more for that like stable level of like, I'm going to have a bad game. I'm going to have bad moments, but that doesn't mean my confidence level has to completely dip and stay on that level. And then if it does,
knowing what to do to bring it up, that has nothing to do with your playing necessarily.
Right.
Absolutely. That's a good one. And we always obviously say like confidence is in essence like the umbrella of mental performance, because usually if you are really focused on that confidence, you have that stable level, you know how to be proactive about it, how to build it up, what are your sources, what are your killers, and identify those things. I mean, that helps you in almost all aspects of mental performance, which is cool.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Good. That's good. Any other pieces? Because I know like pitching, I mean, you were a pitcher.
Yes.
My God. I mean, that is a lot of
Don't
pressure.
sign me up for that. Like, could not have been.
How did you handle that? Like that, I'm sure that mindset, like, I don't know. Tell us a little bit about the mindset within being a pitcher and what that looked like for you.
Sure. So like pitching compared to like hitting, they, again, two different positions, two different ways, right? But like when you're a pitcher, you got to be focused. Like this is a one-on-one battle, right? It's like you and the batter. Whether there's people on base, this whole strategy that you can go on for hours talking about what do you do if a guy's in second? What do you do if someone's like, you can go on for hours. But in terms of like the mental state, like when you're on the mound, I always like made a joke too, but when you're on the mound, it's a little bit higher than every other position field. Like it's flat, the mound is pitched a little bit. So technically you're like, I always felt like you're like closest to the sun. So it's always a little more hotter up on the mound. So it's a little more extra heat when you're pitching. I always like kind of, I don't know, that was always something that was always in my mind. Like, feels like it's hotter up here. And you're literally a couple inches off the ground. But yeah, I think in terms of like a mentality though, as a pitcher, like you just got to like, when you're up there throwing, feel like you're the best pitcher. You got to feel like you're the best pitcher on planet Earth. Because if you don't, and you feel like that hitter in the box is going to take you for a home run, or he's going to get on base, or you can't throw a strike, it's just going to totally ruin your day. So when you're up there, the confidence level has to be up. And more so, it's like you got to have that self-talk and self-belief in yourself that, when you're up there, like, I'm going to get this batter out, and that's just the way it's going to be. I feel like, and vice versa too, when you're a hitter, right, when you're in the box, again, it's that one-on-one matchup, right? It's the pitcher and you. Like, there's nobody going to come up there and take the bat out of your hand and do it for you. When you're pitching, there's nobody going to come up there and throw the ball for you. You have to do it yourself. So when you're in those moments, you have to, again, kind of what we talked about earlier, you got to stay true to yourself, got to tell yourself, I'm the best player in this position. Like, I can do this, right? I have utmost confidence in myself in this moment to get a hit, to throw a strike. And I guess like that mentality is something that I was able to use going from high school to college. Like in college, that was a peak level for me. So when I was on the mound in college, I was like, I'm striking this cut out. No if, what's, or about. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just what's gonna happen.
And when I was in the batter's box, I was like, I'm getting a hit. And that's got to be the mentality. The mentality couldn't be like this, like, I'm afraid to get up there, right? I'm afraid, this kid's throwing really fast. This kid's, it's really good pitches, right? So both pitching and hitting, again, two different positions, but you can like kind of relate them in terms of like what your mentality needs to be in both of those spots.
What's your input, and like how do you think it would have affected you, with the pitch clock now? Like, because I know like players have their routines, hitters have their routine, pitcher, like you had a routine. Would you have liked it? Would you have not have liked it? Because I've heard very mixed reviews on, pitchers and what their perception of it are. So what's your perspective? Do you like it? Do you not?
No,
would you have hated it?
That's a great question. I probably would have hated it a little bit because I would have felt a little rushed. I was always a person that like take my time. So I was like, I like to step off a little bit, just kind of either take a deep breath, right? Relax for a half a second before I get up there, kind of think about what I want to throw, get my mind, body, and focus, all that stuff ready to go. And yeah, I feel like I'd feel like a lot rushed if I seen like a timer kind of ticking down, especially as a hitter too. I mean, a hitter's a little different because like obviously you have to wait for the pitcher to throw it. Well, you can get in the box and you just have to wait. As a pitcher, you have to make sure you throw it before that pitch clock runs out. So I don't know. I think it would have been more so of a struggle for me.
Okay.
But I never actually had to use one. So I'm okay. I'm okay with watching it on TV now and see how guys react to it. But I know it's a more of a fast-paced thing. So
But it sounds like you had a routine that you would try to stick to before hitting and pitching, or just one or the other?
I had 2 routines. So like before hitting, based on my inside of my batting glove, right, I had the word passion written inside my batting glove. So basically passion for me stood for like everything that I came from like youth to like from middle school to high school, like why I'm playing a game. Why am I here? And I use that for college. Yeah, right, my why. So I use that for college. So anytime I'd walk up the batter's box, I flip my batting glove open and say passion there. And didn't matter if I was in Pennsylvania, didn't matter if I was in Florida, didn't matter how many miles I was from home, right?
Yeah.
I'd always, flip it, be like, a quick flashback from like where I came from, what I've accomplished, and I'd be like, I stand for a lot here in the batter's box. So I'd always like to use that when I was hitting. It really put me in the right mindset. And also was like, I don't say it was a distractor by any means, but it took a lot away in terms of like focusing on the wrong cues.
Yeah.
So when you're a hitter, like you walk up to the batter's box, right? There's, especially in college, there's a lot of crowd stuff, right? There's like the opposing teams kind of yelling things. The coaches are signaling wild stuff half the time that it makes no sense to you at bat, believe it or not. But there's just a lot of like wrong things you can focus on. So me like flipping that batting glove open, seeing passion, strapping up, going to the batter's box, my mindset was like, everything I've had lived up to right now, like this at bat means the most to me. And then after that bat, the next one's going to mean the most to me. It's always like on to the next at bat. So like again, that just little visual cue there and focal cue really for that word passion. Yeah, really helped me in the batter's box for sure.
I like that a lot. I think, that is great for all these baseball athletes, but I think other athletes listening to this and, you can take that and adapt it to whatever works best in your sport. If it's writing it on your water bottle, if it's writing it on, for gymnastics, you can write it on your grips, right? Like lacrosse, you can write it
on tape on your shoes.
There you go, right? So like that's a great thing to take in, adapt and use whatever word works best for you. But that's a great example of using that for, that pre-hitting routine.
Yeah. And for pitching too, I had a little thing for pitching, but it wasn't as like crazy as the batter one. Like in my glove, I just wrote my initials. So like before I like would pitch, right, I look in my glove, kind of find what pitch I want to throw. I'd see my initials. It'll remind me of like my name, like who I am standing on the mound. I'm standing up on the mound right now. I'm representing Juva University. I'm representing either St. Mary's High School, like my schools I play for, or travel ball, whatever I was playing for. But like, I feel like my initials were always in my glove. So like when I was up there, yes, I'm representing them, but also I'm representing myself as well. So like, it just means just as much as myself throwing that pitch that does to the actual school as well.
Staying true to yourself, right? And being like, okay, this is about my team, but this is also about me, and like kind of like putting your name on it kind of thing. Like I'm attaching meaning to this pitch. This pitch is personal in the best way possible.
And I really liked what you said, which I've never thought about, is just like not focusing on the wrong things. Like don't get distracted by the noise. Like there's so many things that you could, draw your attention to that is just not going to benefit you in that moment. So channel that to something that could benefit you. It can motivate you, can inspire you, all of those things. I think that's
awesome.
To share that with
I was going to say, I really like that one.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about having you in our office now. And in our very first episode, we talked about how we have this big conference table that we all sit around and we share ideas and we talk and we discuss. And like, it's just been so nice having your perspective on things like that, just because we all come from different training backgrounds. We all have different sport backgrounds. Even our education background is very similar, but our lived experience is so much different. So it's just so cool having you in the office and, being able to bounce ideas off of you and being like, wow, I've literally never thought of it like that. And you've been here for one day and like the whole thing has been changed already. It's been cool.
It's awesome.
I will always shine the baseball background.
Yes, we are very grateful.
We are grateful.
Absolutely.
And our athletes that we work with are grateful for us to be able to have you as a resource too, right? They don't even really know that that's going on in the background, but our athletes are benefiting from us having you as a resource and a coworker now. So
for sure.
It's been really cool.
Yeah. So obviously baseball and other sports, but it's unique because you can have, how many games could you have had in a day, essentially? Like if you're in a tournament or?
Yeah, I think the most I've played is 3 in a day.
Okay, 3 in a day.
I've heard from other athletes sometimes they'll have to play 4 in a day, which is really crazy, playing all day. But I think the most I played 3 in a day, but sometimes for like a tournament-wise, like you can play 7-8 games in a weekend based on like how far you go and like a span of like 3-4 days,
Okay.
which is it's a lot. It's a lot, especially like tournament in the summertime and like even when you get to high school, you can sort of play at a tournament team kind of on the side as well. So just a lot of baseball. A lot of baseball for sure. Yeah.
Well, something I feel like I always hear from my athletes when it comes to specifically my softball and baseball athletes is like, it's really hard for them to not take with them, like if they have a bad first game or they even have a bad like first at bat, like hard not to take that with them throughout the rest of the game or throughout the rest of the day essentially. Right. And I don't know, like, is that something you struggled with? Is that something you felt like you found a good like coping skill and strategy to work through?
Yeah, no, great question. I absolutely struggle with that. 100%. Like, I think high school, it peaked the most for me. Like, I would take every game like so meaningful, and which they were, because they're always like division games. You're playing against all the other high schools in the area, but every game, like if I didn't like didn't do like great in the field, or like maybe I didn't hit good, right, I would take it into the next game. I didn't have like that reset mentality. I would say having a lot of those struggles in high school, I was able to, I think there was like some sort of transition. I just remember, like, I can't remember what college game it was, but it was like one of the first couple ones. It was right after the spring training thing we had my freshman year. We got back to Buffalo. We had like, I don't know, some sort of scrimmage. I just kind of remember it's like a cold day. And I just remember kind of like, I don't know, like my hands were numb and everything like that. It was just a really cold day in Buffalo. We were playing a game. And I don't know, I just went 0 for 4. Did terrible game. I was walking to my car to go drive back to my dorm. I just remember like just thinking like, you know, I am happy to be here. I love playing college baseball, and I'm not going to let this bite me for the next game. Yeah. And just like that mindset from the very beginning, it just really like flipped something for me. Like I just went to the next game. I was like, you know what? This is a brand new day. I woke up the next morning, had breakfast, had practice maybe, had a game, like or had going on that evening. Like I was able to flush it. And flushing the game before is probably one of the best things you can do, at least in, I mean, you can probably speak to a lot of different sports. For baseball, so essential, because kind of as you mentioned a few minutes ago, like in a tournament where you have 7 games, like you're not going to go 4 for 4, 3 for 4, like hit 700, I don't know, 800 batting average, something crazy like that. Every game, you're not going to have a home run. You're not going to have 3-4 RBIs every single game. So being able to flush games, like, you know, my coping strategy, especially in college, was like, you know, especially if we had a home game or away game, but many times on the road, if I didn't have such a great game, I don't know, 1 for 3 or something like that, 1 for 4, I'd be walking to the team bus. I'd look back at the field really quick. I'd shut my eyes for like a half a second. It like I don't always like snap. It wasn't like this like weird like camera thing, but like I'd kind of look at it, close my eyes for a second, and once I got on the team bus, it was over. The game was over. We go back to the hotel. We drive back to our campus. Like that was over, and it didn't actually matter if I had a great game either. It was nice to obviously see it in the stat book the next day. Like you're everything, right? And obviously baseball is a huge analytical thing. Like I mean, I'm not going to say even as a mental performance coach, oh, I didn't look at stats. I absolutely looked at stats. Like it's every baseball athlete looks at stats. It's just the way it is. But I feel like just being able to flush that game in those moments, like right after it's over, and then moving on to the next day is so essential to like just having a clean slate, right? A clean plate, like type of mindset moving into the next game. So
I love that, like intentional moment of, you know, I am going to very intentionally look at the field that I just played on, take a moment to reflect on what happened, and then as soon as I turn back towards my bus, like it's turning to the next step, right? I'm on my journey to my next location to have that reset moment, right? That game is going to be left at that field. That's where it's going to live. It's not going to live in my head, and it's not going to stress me out, and it's time to move on to the next one.
And something that, I don't know, I feel like we don't talk about enough, but you have touched on in many different ways today, is like just the gratitude of like, I have this opportunity. I am a college like athlete, like this is sweet. And I know like even when you first started, you would sit in on sessions with me when I would be meeting with my baseball athletes, and you would say like, just take a second, middle of the game, look around, look at the stands, look at your teammates, look at your coach, and really like have that piece of gratitude of like, I am in this present moment. This is amazing. good game or not, I have another opportunity and I'm just grateful to be here, right? And I think like you maybe like taking that second to look at the field like is a piece of gratitude, a piece of like, dang, like didn't go how I wanted to, bummer, but like I'm not gonna let this affect the rest of my career, the rest of the opportunities I have moving forward.
And it's almost one of those, I'd rather be out on the field and have a bad game than watching in the stands.
Than not playing at all.
Than not playing at all, right? I, you know, if I had to pick one versus playing poorly and not playing at all, I'd rather still be playing.
Definitely.
Yeah. It was, again, kind of like going back to that point, though, like, you know, I would say just like walk to the bus, you know, you again look back at the field, kind of flush it. And once like I put like that first step on the bus or I'd sit down, like that, it's got to be over.
Yeah.
Like what just happened's got to be over. Again, whether it was good or bad. It's so crucial because like I feel like whether it's positive or negative energy, like you want to build off the positive energy. So I'm not saying like if you have a great game, like go on the bus and like celebrate with your team. Yeah, but if you have a not so good game, like that's just negative energy. And you know, it took me a little while to realize, and I mean, I feel like I know it to a T right now. I talk to my athletes now, but I feel like that negative energy, you can't do anything with it. It's just kind of sitting there.
It's not benefiting
and you can't actually walk back to that field and change anything. What you just did is what you did, right? But tomorrow is going to be a new day. And that's the way you want to approach any game, or I think any like life event too. Life. It could be a job interview, it could be a sports game, it could be anything you're walking into. Like when you're walking in that next day, like you're gonna make up the script of what's gonna happen that day. The day before, you can't let that affect you because that's already done. That's already written. So
definitely. I love it.
I was
going to
say,
great points.
I think there's just so much value in what you are doing with these athletes, and I know, you know, you've been here for a little bit now. Like I feel like you know, you've been over a month
over a month,
and you know, it's just cool to see the impact that you know you are having on all these athletes. It's been really cool to see, and we are very thankful to have you. And thanks for being a guest on our Athlete Cafe, and we'll have you back to, you know, give more insight on baseball and all of that kind of stuff.
Many more topics that you can cover.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I loved it. That's
awesome.
Fun.
Cool. Well,
thanks,
that was awesome. And then, you know, Michael's up next for, you know, our other new hire. So cool. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time. Bye.
If you like what you're listening to, be sure to follow the Athlete Cafe on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can find us wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts.